Maybe you look at your life sometimes and wonder where the time went. Years passed. Some of them were beautiful, others were painful. Some were spent waiting. Some were spent trying to make the wrong relationship work. Some were spent recovering from things you never thought would hurt this much. And now you look at where you are, and part of you wonders if you should have been further by now. Maybe you thought you would be married by this age. Maybe you thought you would have a family, a stable career, a peaceful home, a life that finally made sense. But things did not happen the way you imagined, and those years feel lost. You cannot go back and live them again. You cannot undo every decision. You cannot recover every opportunity. You cannot become the person you were before the heartbreak. And sometimes that truth hurts, because you aren't only grieving what happened, you are grieving what you thought would happen. The life you imagined, the relationship you thought would last, the future you planned in your mind, the version of yourself you thought you would become. But there is something you need to remember.
Your past is not the final chapter of your story. The years you thought were wasted do not have to define the years ahead. There is a verse in Joel 2:25 where God speaks about restoring the years that were lost. That verse has brought hope to people for generations. But restoration does not always mean getting the exact thing back. It does not always mean going back in time. Sometimes restoration looks completely different. Sometimes God restores you before He restores anything around you. He restores your peace, your wisdom, your strength, your ability to trust again, your ability to walk away from what once controlled you. And sometimes that restoration is more valuable than what you were originally asking for. Because there was a time when you thought you needed that person. You thought you needed that relationship to work. You thought that if they came back, everything would finally make sense. But maybe God was trying to show you something deeper. You were never meant to build your identity around another person. You were never meant to measure your worth by whether someone chose you. And you were never meant to believe that your life ended because someone walked away. Maybe they took years from your heart, but they did not take your entire future. Maybe you spent years loving someone who could not love you properly. Maybe you stayed because you remembered their good side. You remembered the beginning. You remembered the promises. You remembered the moments that made you believe things could change. So you waited and waited and waited, until one day you realized you had been waiting for a version of someone who never truly existed. That realization can break your heart, but it can also set you free. Because sometimes the greatest restoration begins when you finally stop trying to recover what God is asking you to release. You may have lost time, but you gained wisdom. You may have lost a relationship, but you discovered what you will never accept again. You may have experienced rejection, but you learned that rejection does not determine your value. You may have spent years alone, but those years may have taught you how to stand without needing someone else to complete you. And that matters, because the person you are becoming now is not the same person you were years ago. You have survived things you once thought would destroy you. You have cried tears nobody knew about. You have prayed prayers you could barely speak. You have smiled around people while carrying pain inside, and somehow you are still here. That means something. Your life is still moving. God is still working, even when you cannot see it. There are seasons where nothing seems to change. You pray, you wait, you try again, and still the door remains closed. It can make you wonder if God forgot you.
But silence is not always absence. A closed door is not always punishment. And a delayed answer is not proof that your life is going nowhere. Sometimes the waiting season is doing something inside you that the next season will require. You may be asking God for a blessing, but God may also be preparing you to carry it, because Getting what you want too early can sometimes become another form of pain. You may have wanted love, but first you needed healing. You may have wanted marriage, but first you needed to understand your worth. You may have wanted a new beginning, but first you needed to stop returning to the old one. And maybe that is where you are now, not at the end, at the beginning of something new. Do not let the years behind you convince you that there are no meaningful years ahead. Your age does not cancel your purpose. Your mistakes do not cancel your purpose. Your divorce does not cancel your purpose. The years you spent confused do not cancel your purpose. You are not disqualified because life did not happen according to your timeline. God is not limited by the timeline you created in your mind. You may think you are behind, but your life is not a race against someone else's life. Stop looking at the woman who got married at 25. Stop looking at the person who built their career 10 years before you did. Stop comparing your chapter 5 to someone else's chapter 15. You do not know what they had to walk through, and they do not know what you survived. Your journey has its own timing, and your responsibility is not to recreate someone else's story. It is to become faithful with the life in front of you. There may still be things you deeply desire. It's okay to admit that. You can want love, you can want companionship, you can want a family, you can want a new career, you can want a peaceful home, you can want something beautiful after years of pain. Wanting those things does not make you weak, but do not make one unanswered prayer the measurement of God's love for you. You are loved before the answer comes. You are valuable before someone chooses you. You have purpose before your circumstances change. And you are not behind simply because your life looks different. Maybe restoration will not look like getting those exact years back. Maybe it will look like finally living without the fear that controlled those years. Maybe it will look like waking up without checking your phone for someone who never cared enough to stay. Maybe it will look like choosing peace over emotional chaos. Maybe it will look like meeting someone healthy because you finally learned what healthy love looks like. Maybe it will become emotionally stronger, more discerning, more grounded, more secure. Maybe the greatest thing God restores is not your past. Maybe it is your ability to enjoy your future. Think about that. What if your best years are not behind you? What if there are still conversations you have not had, places you have not seen, people you have not met, prayers you have not yet seen answered, versions of yourself you have not yet discovered? There is still life ahead of you. And you do not need to know exactly what it will look like. You only need to stop believing that your story is over, because it isn't. The chapter that broke you was still a chapter. It was not the whole book. The relationship that ended was still a relationship. It was not your entire capacity to love. The years that felt empty were still years. They were not proof that your future will be empty too. So forgive yourself. Forgive the younger version of you who did not know what you know now. She was doing the best she could with the understanding she had. Stop punishing yourself for choices you made before you had today's wisdom. You cannot change yesterday, but you can stop letting yesterday control tomorrow. That is where your power is now. You can choose differently. You can love differently. You can set boundaries. You can heal. You can pray again. You can dream again. You can begin again. And perhaps that is what restoration looks like.
Not pretending the pain never happened, but realizing the pain did not get the final word. God can bring meaning from seasons you never would have chosen. He can use what wounded you to develop wisdom in you. He can use what you lost to teach you what truly matters. And He can lead you forward without requiring you to understand every detail. So if you feel like you are late, take a breath. You are still here. If you feel like you wasted years, do not waste another one believing your story is finished. If you feel like everyone else has moved ahead, look at your own path. Keep walking. If you feel like love passed you by, do not let disappointment convince you that you are unworthy of it. And if you are carrying regret, Give it to God. You do not have to carry yesterday into every tomorrow. Some things are gone. Let them be gone. Some doors closed. Let them stay closed. Some people left. Let their leaving teach you without letting it destroy you. Because your future deserves more than a heart that is permanently trapped in the past. You cannot recover every lost year, but you can redeem the years that remain. You can live them with intention, with wisdom, with faith, with peace.
And maybe one day, you will look back at this season differently. You will realize that what felt like the end was actually a turning point. You will understand why some doors stayed closed, why some people could not stay, why certain plans failed, why the waiting was longer than you wanted. You may not understand it all today, but you do not need to. Keep trusting God with the parts you cannot explain. Keep becoming who He is calling you to become. Keep your heart open, but keep your standards strong. Keep praying, but keep moving. Keep hoping, but do not stop living. Your story is still being written, and the years ahead do not have to look like the years behind you. Maybe you thought you had missed your moment. Maybe you thought it was too late. Maybe you thought too much had been lost. But God is not asking you to go backward. He is inviting you to move forward. And sometimes, the greatest restoration is not getting your old life back. It is receiving the grace to build a better one. So lift your eyes. There is still time to grow, still time to heal, still time to love, still time to serve, still time to become, still time to experience things you never imagined. The years behind you are part of your story, but they are not the end of it. What was lost may have shaped you, but it does not have to define you. And with God, there can still be beauty ahead.